All right, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm speaking to today, I'm seeing that you could have some questions or some feelings going on around your love life, partnerships, that kind of thing. And for many of you, there may be this feeling of needing clarity or wanting to know what's going to happen next. And I'm seeing here that divine timing is at play and that things are going to balance out for you. It just may take more time than you're expecting, or on the time sort of level, you may feel like you're waiting a lot or you have to be patient or something like that. But really, Spirit's pointing here to the fact that whatever's going on in your heart space and in your love life, it's larger than just how we typically think about time on Earth. And things are going to balance out for you in ways that you may not be able to see right now, but they will become clear to you in time. There's just a need for time to kind of pass, or for the energies to kind of level out here over time. And for the oracle cards today, we have playfulness, suppression, and we are the world. So Spirit's saying that you, Sagittarius, are meant to embody this really playful, happy, joyous, open, expansive, curious energy in the world. But when you get bogged down with needing things to happen a certain way, or even just wanting to know how things are going to happen or are they going to work out, it kind of cuts that energy in half and kind of suppresses, prevents you from being your full exploratory, playful self. And especially when it comes to who you are as a soul in connection with the other souls in the world, we have we are the world. So that's about your energy connecting to other energies. And you're really meant to go out there and explore and connect with many different people. You're not meant to be someone who is only connected to one person or one energy or even one timeline and one way of being. And so Spirit's really asking you here to open your energy up to being playful, to connecting with other people, and to not necessarily having to know how things are going to shake out or that things are going to go in one particular direction. Because I'm definitely hearing here that when we become a little bit obsessive or just attached to a certain outcome or to the idea that things will go one way, we close ourselves off to all the different possibilities that are open to us, especially when it comes to connection. So Spirit's really asking you to stay open here. And by stay open, I also just mean stay open to things happening in a way that you might not expect, or to going down different paths that you might not usually go down. Now, I'm going to dive into the tarot here, Sagittarius, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you would like to lend your energy to the channel to help me manifest messages that resonate more for you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings. They're available down below in the description box. You can email me. But without further ado, Sagittarius, let's dive in here and see what is going on for you. So in the recent past, I'm seeing that you went through an ending, some type of death process with someone in your life who was important to you. This comes through as a masculine energy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be male. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, and this person is just coming through as a masculine energy, whereas you're coming through as a more feminine energy. This comes through as someone who you may have lived with for some of you. For others of you, this could be someone that you worked with. But for whoever this is, they represent some aspect of your stability. Maybe you thought you were going to be with them in the long term, or maybe they represented some type of long-term ideal. I'm not really sure. It's going to be different for everyone. But you have an ending with this person, and it looks like it affected you really deeply on an emotional level. This could be someone who you may have grieved for a long time, or they just opened up a grieving process for you. There could have been some disappointment here around what you expected for your life or for this partnership. And you're just showing me that it's something that you've had to kind of move through, possibly alone or in some type of solitary way. It's just been a very personal, kind of deep process for you. And this may be someone who either you didn't want to move on from, or they didn't want to move on from you. And it took a lot of self-discipline in order to move on from this person. It also could have just caused a lot of stress and anxiety in your life, in the sense that there's this feeling of, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this, or something like that. It could have taken sort of a head over heart decision, and there's something about it that not only was very emotionally painful, but was just very stressful to you. And you could have maybe moved through a time period of um, having to kind of be at war with yourself a little bit around how you feel around this person, or the grieving process. There may have been this feeling of like wanting to get control over your thoughts or your feelings and not really being able to, something like that. Ultimately, you're showing that this was a soul connection that it was very hard for you to move on from. In some way, you may have been holding on to it for a while. You may have held on to it because of a fear of leaving it, or leaving it behind, or thinking that things would be really hard if you moved on from it. There's also definitely something about this connection where it was attached to your stability on some level. So that could be your material stability, like your job, your home. You could have shared finances with this person, or this person could represent your emotional stability, someone that you depended on for like your sense of self, someone who you couldn't really imagine being without, something like that. And actually, in reality, it comes through as something that maybe wasn't providing as much for you as you thought it was, but you thought that it was providing a lot for you. And so it became very difficult for you to move on from it, or for you to leave it behind. In the current energy, I still see you kind of moving through those energies. There is a feeling of maybe being tied to this, or being stuck on some level. Um, you're showing me this feeling of like, that's what love is to me, is that person or that energy. There's almost this feeling of not being able to envision yourself being happy with anyone else, or even if it's not conscious, this person, you may have been with them for such a long time that it's hard for you to see yourself in love, or hard to see yourself being happy without this person. And you may not realize it, but you're kind of keeping yourself stuck a little bit by having this perspective of thinking that this is as good as it gets. Because I'm seeing that there's a lot more out there for you, Sagittarius, but first it begins with you kind of believing that and envisioning that, specifically when it comes to love. Yeah, you're showing me this energy over and over again of, but I don't know what to expect. I don't know what else is out there. It's almost like you can't even envision that there are other things out there, and so you come through as very fragmented in a certain way, kind of foggy, because you're stuck behind all these thoughts, all these things your mind is telling you. You may be very stuck on this situation, and even when you try to move beyond this situation, it's like you can't see two steps in front of you. It's almost like I'm reminded of this time when I was walking home from an event, and I was staying at this place in the woods, and the event was kind of further down the road, and I'd been at the event for several hours, and I'm coming back, and at this point it's pitch black outside, and all I have to do is walk down this road, and not very far either, like maybe a quarter of a mile, and I'm walking, and I'm like, all I have to do is put one step in front of me, but it's so dark, I can't see the road, I can't see my hands, I can't see my legs, I can't see the side of the road, like nothing. Like it's just pitch black dark. And I'm stumbling forward, and I'm stumbling forward, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this shouldn't be that hard of a task. Like I should just be able to put one foot in front of the other and make it back, like door to door, just going down this road, right? But finally, I'm getting so nervous, and I'm in my head, and I'm like, what if I'm not even on the road anymore? What if I pass the house? I'm like, it's getting harder for me to walk because I'm getting less sure of myself. And I think in the same way, your mind is kind of getting in the way here. And it's like all you have to do is take one step after another and keep moving forward. But you're so stuck on what happened in the past And even if you feel like you've moved on in some way, or you've done some healing on this, there's this way that whatever happened in the past could be subconsciously clouding your idea of love. All right. And so eventually I did turn around and I went back and I asked for a flashlight. And I feel like there's this way that you kind of want to turn back to this situation, not necessarily to ask for a flashlight, but just to turn around and like check in with it and be like, it's still there, right? My conception of love and what I believe is possible for me is still love, is still in there in the past, right? And Spirit's showing me that you're getting more and more confused because you're not really able to see things clearly right in front of you or right behind you. Because if you were to look back at what happened behind you, you would realize that something that's keeping you that stuck is not necessarily the energy of love. It may have felt that way at one point, but the way it shows up for you right now is something a lot less healthy and something a lot more fragmented and kind of murkier. And so then you get really confused when you start to think about what love is. It becomes attached to this ending, it becomes burdensome, and Spirit's showing me you're not really seeing love itself very clearly, especially not when it comes to what you're capable of receiving or what's capable of coming towards you. You know, it's supposed to be something that makes you feel really good, not something that makes you feel really confusing, or fragmented, or I just keep hearing confused. Like, it's not supposed to make you upset. It's supposed to be something that makes you feel playful, excited, curious, happy, interested, intrigued, all of that. And Spirit's really asking you to connect to something beyond yourself that makes you feel playful, that makes you feel excited, that kind of puts you in the present. And even if it's not a specific person or a specific energy, connecting to what it is that makes you feel that light, playful feeling is going to start to attract that energy more into your life. And it's going to help you balance out in such a way where maybe you can't see the road in front of you. Maybe you don't know what's coming next. But you're going to kind of trust that everything's going to be okay because you're going to step into that more positive energy. Because right now I see you kind of just wondering, like, when is someone going to come along and bring that energy out of me, right? And Spirit's saying, you know, you're not necessarily going to know when that person's going to come along because it's not going to be someone pulling that energy out of you. It's going to be you embodying the loving, playful, happy energy and then joining up with another energy that's also in that space and embodying who you are together. You're showing me this deep desire for another person. And not like a specific person, but you're showing me a deep desire for a partnership. And you're kind of showing me that you may have felt like you've been alone for a long time. And even if you've had other people around you, or maybe you have dated or you have had partners, it's like spiritually you felt very alone, or you feel like you kind of have to handle things by yourself. Or at the end of the day, it's just me and me. And it comes through as like a very tired experience. Like you come through as being kind of fed up of being alone and just wishing and hoping all the time. And you're always waiting for a soul connection, or you're always waiting for someone that speaks to your heart. And Spirit's really asking you to focus more on loving yourself, because when you get into this headspace of everything's so hard, when am I going to find my person, all of that, you really start to leave yourself behind, and you start to leave behind not just yourself, but your sense of balance, your sense of personal fulfillment, the stability, the feeling of I got this. That starts to kind of leave your energy because you get so focused on looking for a partnership. And the right partnership, it's not going to come in a confusing way. It's not going to feel like very heavy and very upsetting. It's going to come in and it's going to feel really good, and it's going to feel really good because you're going to be feeling really, really good. And Spirit's saying first you have to focus on feeling good within yourself, and not just feeling good, but playing and exploring and going out into the world. And right now that's an energy that you seem to be kind of suppressing on some level, whether you know that or not. Because the advice from the universe here is like, take action towards yourself. And part of that may be really painful. It may involve putting to rest just for a moment this dream that you have of partnership so that you can focus on yourself, so that you can actually put yourself in the center. Because you may not realize it, but by focusing so heavily on when is this partnership going to come in, you're not centering yourself. You're centering an idea of someone else who maybe isn't even in your life yet, or maybe projecting that feeling onto other people who are in your life but aren't filling that role. And so Spirit's really asking you to put an end to the way that you've been approaching love as this sort of external thing, whether it's attached to someone in the past or someone in the future, and focus that energy on yourself in a very present sort of way, in a way of what I have right now is myself. And I think that that is going to kind of click you back into center in a way and align you more with what makes you feel good. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, how do I center myself? Or what does it look like for me to love myself? The answer is what brings you joy? What makes you feel playful? And focus on that. And even if it's just, going to get an ice cream, and that's the first thing you can think of, or sitting on your floor and playing with your dog, or maybe it's something bigger. Like maybe you're like, I've always wanted to curate a gallery. I just think that would be so sweet. Reach out to the gallery or reach out to the artists. I don't know. It's going to be different. But it's like Spirit saying have fun. Have fun in your own energy by yourself where you are right now, and try to focus less on the past and less on the future, because all you have is the present moment. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this helps. I hope that this resonates, and I'll see you next time.